Hi everybody and welcome back. It's been almost 2 weeks since I posted. Life has kind of gotten in the way the past couple of weeks and I have had time to do some stitching. That's the good news. I just haven't had time to make and edit videos and post. So it is Sunday, November 24th, and I thought I would take, I have a little pocket of time and I thought I would kind of pause everything and do my setup and post a video because I've been watching a lot of Floss Tube and enjoying progress that people have made, and so here I am. Okay, so the first thing and the big thing is that I have made progress on my HAED, my treasure hunt bookshelf. So the artwork is by Aimee Stewart, and so let me show you the artwork. And then this is what it looked like last time. And this is what it looks like now. So I have done quite a bit. I had finished this page and then I started working down here, and I was kind of clearing the parked threads, as I like to call it. And I just love how the dress is really taking shape. And you know, I hadn't intended to do this square next, but I had so many stitches that I had done that I just wanted to work on the figure, and I wanted to get her more done. Now, part of the reason for my progress is that I am now using Pattern Keeper. Yay! I had been using Goodreader on my iPad, and to make like a really long, boring story short, when I kind of looked at the newest version of it when I was using it on my phone and someone else's iPad, I noticed that I wasn't able to highlight symbols like I can on my iPad. And I am notorious for like not updating apps on my iPad for like a long time, because if I like the way they're working, I don't want it to change. Anyway, so I wasn't able to figure out how to highlight symbols the way that I have been able to, and I thought, this is like really scary, because if I accidentally update it or whatever and all of a sudden I can't highlight symbols in my patterns, like what's the point? And so this prompted a whole should I get a Kindle? Will I be able to kind of jerry rig it to run Pattern Keeper? And what I decided to do is to actually just purchase a Samsung Galaxy Tab A. And I got a really pretty case. It was really, really reasonably priced. And even though it is a Black Friday deal at Target, I still got a better deal at Amazon purchasing it ahead of Black Friday. So I was able to buy the tablet. So this is a black 32 gig, Tab A, 2019 version. I have a screen protector on this and a case, and it was a little over $200, and then I got a nice Amazon gift card as part of a promotion to spend as well. So first thing I did after I set it up was download Pattern Keeper. I was able to get all of my apps. So getting these patterns, getting these patterns from Goodreader on an Apple device to Pattern Keeper on an Android device was just so super fun. But I finally realized that Gmail was like my best friend. And so I wasn't able to email my treasure hunt bookshelf pattern to myself, including all of the annotations. But I was able to email the original version of it, and I was able to get into Gmail on my Samsung tablet, and then I was able to get all of my HAED patterns into Pattern Keeper without a problem. Then of course I had to spend time sort of going back, and luckily I had done full page finishes. So in Pattern Keeper, I was able to really, really easily and quickly highlight as done all 6 pages that I had finished. And then I really just had to have like my iPad open on one side, the Samsung tablet open on another, and I had to like individually mark stitches that I had done. And I did that for my Outlander pattern that I haven't worked on that in, more than a month. But when all was said and done, from opening this box to completing all of my annotations in Pattern Keeper was about 3 hours. And it was 3 hours really, really, really well spent. Because my favorite features of Pattern Keeper are that I can highlight a symbol. It can instantly tell me the DMC number, and it highlights all of the symbols in the entire pattern for me so that I don't have to scan. I stitch cross country, so this is brilliant. It's easy to mark off the stitches that I've done. It's easy to mark things as parked. And I mean, it took me very little time to get used to using it, and it's now like fabulous. So I was really unsure at first about like, should I purchase a new tablet? Like, I have devices. Is this like a waste? And who knows, maybe tomorrow the Apple version of Pattern Keeper will come out and I'll be like, ugh. But it's fine. And it also means that I can use my iPad to kind of do other things, like maybe watch Floss Tube instead of using it for stitching, and I can use this one for stitching. Although like having, how many devices can I have around me while I do things? But that's another discussion entirely. I'm not worried about that right now. So anyway, the summary of all of that is Pattern Keeper is amazing. You guys are all right. Every person that I've seen make a comment or make a video about how wonderful it is. It was really clearly made by someone who cares about stitchers and really wanted to make an excellent app, because it's amazing. Even in the beta version, like, it's great, and I will definitely keep using it. And the money I spent to get a new tablet and set it up was absolutely well worth it. Okay, so that was kind of focus number 1 of the past couple of weeks. Focus number 2 was Lady Hera by Mirabilia, so let me show you that. So here's what Lady Hera should look like when she's done. And let me show you what Lady Hera looked like last time. And here is what she looks like now. So I've actually, the past, especially like 4 or 5 days, I've done a lot of work. So I have actually finished the yellow part of her dress. So I've done this over here and all of this. And what's left to do are some flowers, which should be, pretty easy. And then her orange wrap is quite, there are quite a few stitches here. So this was not difficult to stitch because it's all color blocking, and I just had to kind of count around the space where the flowers would be. It did kind of seem tedious, but I felt like I made a lot of progress, and I'm really happy with the results so far. She's another one. Someone pointed out that there are a lot of yellow dresses in Mirabilia land, and so this is another yellow dress pattern, but I think she's looking gorgeous, and I can't wait to finish her. I also worked on a couple of other pieces and started a few. I did work on Monkshood by Norah Corbett, so let me show you what that should look like when it's done. And let me show you what it looked like last time. And this is what it looks like now. So I've been able to do a lot of work on the dress. I had finished up top, and I actually decided, because of these long columns of stitches here, I took it off the Q-snap and I started stitching in hand and using the sewing method, and so I was able to make really quick progress. And I actually was kind of working on it before and didn't get to finish this, length of thread. But anyway, there aren't many purple Mirabilia / Norah Corbetts, so I was happy to kind of work on this one, even though it, is also pink. It's beautiful. I love it. And this is 28 count natural linen that I hand dyed myself. And My HAED, which I forgot to tell you earlier, is also 28 count 2/110 stitch. I've been forgetting to say that, I'm sorry. The other thing that I've been working on, and when I made my last video, I had put this piece in timeout because I wasn't liking the fabric. I made a mistake. I had to rip a bunch out, and I was like, you know, maybe it needs to like go away forever. And I decided, no, I won't let this be unresolved. So this is the finished piece, and I'll show you what it looked like last time. This is what it looks like now. So I was able to frog this entire leaf, restitch it, and then get these stitched as well in a pretty short amount of time. So I feel like I have momentum back with this piece, and I'll keep going. And you know, I mean, I like it. I don't know if I'm going to finish it the way that the designer finished it. This is in the October Just Cross Stitch magazine. So let's see. And the designer is Julia Lucas. So, but anyway, time will tell over the next couple of weeks. So I think those are the whips that I spent time on, and I had a couple of new starts because, like I said in the title, when life hands you lemons, start Mirabilias. Of course. I started Mirabilia's Roses of Provence, and the white chocolate witchelt linen that came in the kit for this, I'm using on the little fall leaf thing that I'm making. And I subbed a different fabric. So it's this, it might be 28 count. It wasn't labeled when I bought it, but it's an opalescent pink, pale pink fabric that is gorgeous. And so I've been able to do the hair and the ribbon, and I decided because the skin calls for blends, I couldn't do 1/1 full cross on this, so I'm doing 2/1 tent. And I started working on this, and as I was working on it and the curve going down the nose, I was like, so that's why people said to go ahead and like do the outline, fill in the stitches, take out the outline, and then redo kind of the back stitching around the face in like the proper color. I totally get why people do that now. So this black here is not permanent. This black is just to let me guide me as to where to stop when I'm, stitching the curves of her face, because of course I'm not doing the stitches that create a nice smooth diagonal line. I'm doing these little tent stitches that aren't, kind of have a different effect, but I'm liking it so far. The fabric is lovely. When I need something sparkly, this is what I pick up. So hopefully I'll be making more progress on this, and I think it'll be really pretty. It'll be really pretty. Okay, so the next piece that I started was Andromeda by Mirabilia. And I hand dyed a piece of fabric, kind of two-toned, so like a sort of tealy blue on the bottom, and then kind of a like gray pink on the top. And I didn't realize that it was actually 25 count, so I kind of went back and forth, and should I do it, should I not do it? I can't really stitch it over one and use the beads. I don't think they would fit. And then I decided that it would be dramatic, and I had actually purchased silk floss to do this piece, and I thought, well, maybe it will show off the shine of the silk a lot better if the stitches are bigger. And the stitches to me seem huge. So when I go from working on my, 28 stitches per inch to my 12.5 stitches per inch, it seems like it's absolutely gigantic. And for this one, I decided to start in the middle because I didn't want to be working on like hair and like tiny, tiny skin stitches on too many pieces at once. So let me show you what I've done so far. I have just done part of the rock, and this is part of her dress. And I have actually done some kind of color substitution. So instead of this kind of like really pale like lavender pinks, I'm using more vibrant purples. I'm still using black and gray for the rocks, but there's like this odd sort of greenish teal as an accent color, and it didn't quite kind of suit me, so I'm subbing it out for some silver. But anyway, so I haven't done tons of work on this, but I just kind of wanted to start, you know, kind of getting some of the rocks done, getting some of the dress done, just to see how the colors looked on each other. And my only concern is that when I purchased floss for this, you'll see that there's kind of some like aqua teals in the water, and I don't think that they will look very good against the fabric. So that is something I have to figure out at some point. Is just I'll have to probably buy something with more blue in it maybe, as opposed to kind of yellow. So anyway, there you go. So 2 Mirabilia starts. Actually, I did 2 Mirabilia starts in 2 days because I, you know, kind of got to the point where I was like, I've got to have something to take my mind off of kind of the day-to-day, you know, what's going on, and start, you know, getting everything out and starting these Mirabilias did the trick. So 2 starts in 2 days. And then early this morning, as in like just after midnight, I decided to start something else. So this is an Etsy pattern. Let me show you what it looks like when it's done. And I didn't get to stitch very much on this at all, but I will show you what I've done. Now I decided to stitch this 1/1 full cross on 28 count white linen because my travel stitching, which is like all the way out in the car, so I'm probably not going to show it this time, but I'll show it next time. Just it's a nice kind of geometric snowflakey type design that's stitched with B5200 on teal. I can pop in a picture so you can see it. And I feel like it's too big. I feel like the X's are too easily seen. I wish I had stitched it, you know, over 1/1. So I decided this piece to do, you know, tiny, tiny. And in the end, it'll be only like 7 inches. 7 inches. So it's not going to be very big at all, but I think it'll look really pretty and really delicate, etc., etc. And I was just kind of, I thought, okay, so I'm doing like a little thing that's seasonal, and I'm doing 3 Mirabilias, and I've got a HAED, at least one that I'm actively working on. So this is just a different kind of stitching. The other thing that happened is that because I found myself sort of without an obligation on a weekend day, I took a drive over to Deer Hill Farm Cross Stitch in Hyde Park, New York. So I have come to Deer Hill Farm Cross Stitch in Hyde Park, New York, which is a gorgeous store that is very well stocked and very friendly to boot. So let me show you the front part. Lots of gentle art threads and beads and all sorts of gadgets and lovely models all around here. And this shop has little rooms, so this is the thread room and also has samplers. And there are also many, 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 many fabrics. From Fabric Flare and Picture This Plus and Weeks. sorts of, there are Norah Corbett's and Mirabilias and lavender and lace, so that has made me super happy. And it's an amazing shop that from the outside looks really small, but going in, it's actually lots of separate rooms. And the owner was super, super, super nice. And I'd gone to another cross stitch shop a week before, and when I was in there, I kind of felt like, I don't know, like I should buy my stuff and like leave. And the owner of Deer Hill Farm, Pat, she talked to me a lot. She helped me pick out fabric. She, gave her opinion in a nice way, and just, I felt like I really got along with her well, and I really, 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 want to go back. So here's the retail therapy portion of the video. And okay, so I got a healthy size piece of Calypso by Picture This Plus, and I think it's 32 count. I'm not sure though, but isn't this pretty? Like, I think the color is showing up pretty faithfully. It's just, it makes me happy when I look at this, and so I thought, I absolutely have to get this. Like, this makes me happy. And when I was looking at it, I thought, maybe a mermaid, because I'm really in the mood to stitch a mermaid. And then I thought, well, maybe it might like disappear against the fabric, or maybe the colors wouldn't look quite right. So I bought a new pattern and several new patterns. And so I'm actually thinking about stitching the Petal Fairy by Norah Corbett on it, because I think the contrast might be really great. So here's the Petal Fairy. And this is a design from like quite a while ago. 2004, so yeah, quite a while ago. And I just think, and pink and yellow and orange aren't my favorite colors in the world, but I think this design is really lovely. And I think that maybe in contrast with the fabric, that it could look really beautiful. I haven't made a final decision yet, but this is just something I was thinking about, because, this kind of thing, it just, looking at this fabric makes me happy. So those are two things I got. And because I really like opalescent fabric, I got, again, a very healthy size piece of white opalescent fabric. I don't know if I'll be able to show you the sparklies. Oh, I think they're showing up a little bit. So, I mean, I could easily fit two things on this. It could either be like one really big piece, or it could be at least two more modest size pieces. But, I thought, I didn't have anything specific picked out for this, but I just thought, like, sparkly fabric can never, be a bad idea for the right pattern. And let me see. I did find something, so I picked up, she had a lot of Mirabilia Norah Corbett patterns. Fabulous. And so this, I picked out Miss Christmas Eve. And I thought, I kind of like it on the buttery yellow, but then I thought maybe on sparkly white fabric she would look really good. So again, I haven't like fully decided to do this, but I think it could look really nice. So there's that. I also got just 4 kind of plain cuts of this 32 count fabric in a nice neutral color, and it's really kind of buttery and soft, but it feels sturdy, this linen. And these are for my drawn thread welcome signs. And I've shown this before. I have winter, and it calls for Dinky Dye silk. Darn. Don't want to mess for called for flosses, right? Especially when they're silk. So I've already had this. And then, let's see. She had spring. I wanted summer and autumn, but she didn't have them. So, but this is the second one I'm stitching. So I will do winter first, and my plan is to start it in January, and then I have spring. No flosses for it yet. So then I got some other patterns because she has a great like customer loyalty rewards sort of program. And so, you know, I got to the point where I got a discount on patterns that were older than the current year. So patterns that were published 2018 or before, I got a really nice discount on. And so I did not go hog wild. I could have bought the whole store, but I just, you know, bought some things that I liked. And so I'll show you. Okay, so a bunch of Norah Corbett. So I found Solo Tua from the Petite Mermaids collection, which also could look really nice on turquoise fabric. I finally found one of the Bewitching Pixies, Minerva. So I'm really excited about this. And Angel White Trumpet, which I think is really pretty. And then I also found the Lily Pad Sprite, which is in a much different format than, you know, I'm used to. But anyway, so those are my Norah Corbetts. She had lavender and lace, and I picked up this one. It's called Angel of Christmas. And what I love about some of these patterns is that they have over one faces that are charted to be over one faces. So it's not just 4 stitches of the same color in place of one stitch, but it's actually the shading around the eyes and the mouth and the side of the face are done, meant to be over one, if you like. And she always includes like a 2/2 face as well, but I've always done the over one faces. And so, yep, I got this. That was nice. Let's see, what else did I get? A couple of nice ones. So I got, I've been following Stephanie of Lindy Stitches, and she's great. So I actually saw her Peacock Keeper, which I've been kind of into peacocks lately, and I love the colors on this. And the quote, "A little nonsense now and then is relished by the wisest men," by Roald Dahl. And I love Roald Dahl too. So there's that. And then I've seen a couple of people stitch this Halloween and cross stitch by an Italian company, Cuore e Baticure. And so I just thought this was fun, and you know, this is a fall 2019 pattern, so I didn't get a discount on this, but I really liked it. And last, I found an Ink Circles pattern. This is called Forests of Sumatra, and I think this is gorgeous. Lovely, 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 lovely. So those were all of the new kinds of patterns that I got. And my plan, so Thanksgiving is coming up this week, and I have family. My grandparents are visiting, and that's always a really lovely thing because they're wonderful. And so I think that I will be, I don't know how much I'll be stitching, but I will just keep making progress on what I've stitched. I do have the Norah Corbett Thanksgiving Fairy kit, so I think that I will maybe be starting that and at least work on it a little bit. And, you know, I could put it away and get it out next fall, but, you know, that might be something I do. And yeah, just keep working on things and try to enjoy the holiday a little bit. And I think that's what I'm going to do. So before I go, I wanted to talk a tiny little bit about how I get my reading done and stitching. And I have been a long-time listener of audiobooks, and I not only use Audible, but a lot of apps from my library. And I can make another entire video about how I do that, because I can listen to a lot of books for free that way. And by using, different apps and drawing on different resources, I can find a lot that I like, without paying money, just through the library. But I will say briefly that I have been listening to the Amelia Peabody historical mystery series by Elizabeth Peters. It's wonderful. The books, there are at least 20 books in the series. I have read them all, but the Barbara Rosenblatt, who narrates the audiobooks, is amazing. And this series, it's a historical mystery series about, set in the Victorian era and then later the Edwardian era, about a British family of Egyptologists. And the author herself, Elizabeth Peters, who has sadly passed away, was an Egyptologist herself. So when she writes about the Egyptology, I trust that she's done a really good job. And her characters are very individual. They're really witty. The writing, the words just seem to kind of read themselves, because her writing is so wonderful. And Barbara Rosenblatt, the narrator, does an amazing job. She doesn't just read the book, she performs it. And she is an actor herself, and I can't believe how good she does the different accents and voices of all the characters. And so I'm on the 6th book in the series, and I intend to just kind of, I won't say I'm binge listening, because I don't get to listen to like a lot at one time, but I'm kind of chain listening. So as soon as I finish one, I start the next. They're all through the library. And, I think this is a type of series that sort of transcends the genre. So if you like historical mysteries, you might love this. And even if you are not a historical mystery reader, you might love it anyway, because the books are amazing and the characters are great. Very, very individual. They're not kind of stock characters. A lot of, I think, authors can write sort of the type of character that one sees in many different types of books of a certain genre. And she doesn't do that. So anyway, that is that. I hope to see you in a week or two. And until then, happy stitching, everybody. Thanks.